Don, you ready?
Yeah.
Randy Jack.
Yep.
14.
Call the meeting, Crawford County Commission to order, August 14th, 2020. Begin with flag salute. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Had a chance to look over the previous meeting minutes. Any changes?
Mr. Chairman, I'll move we accept the minutes from the previous meeting.
As well as the Board of Canvassers meeting. Second.
Aye. Okay, signing the motions.
We have several motions to sign from the meeting and from the Board of Canvassers meeting. First three, I believe, are from the Board of Canvassers meeting. The motion is 20-319 to accept the unofficial election results report from the 2020 primary election held on August 4th, 2020 in Crawford County as presented by the Crawford County Election Officer. The second motion is 20-320 to approve 108 provisional ballots for full county and 8 provisional ballots for partial county from the 2020 primary election held on August 4th, 2020 in Crawford County as recommended by the Crawford County Election Officer. The next motion is 20-321 to recess the meeting of the Board of Canvassers and conduct a regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners after a 5-minute break and reconvene the meeting of the Board of Canvassers after the regular meeting. These motions are from the regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners. The next motion is 20-322, that the consent agenda be approved. The next motion is 20-323, to approve the indicators for models of learning as presented by the county health officers. The next motion is 20-324, to approve the Spark reimbursement applications and the direct funding applications and the small business / not-for-profit grant program allocations as presented by Mike Bodensteiner, Director of the SEK Regional Education Service Center at Greenbush. The next motion is 20-325, to recess this open session and go into a closed executive session for a period of not more than 30 minutes to discuss items that would be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship, to discuss landfill negotiations and wind farms, and to include the Board of County Commissioners and County Councilor Jim Emerson, and to reconvene by 11:25 a.m. The next motion is 20-326, to recess this open session and go into a closed executive session for a period of not more than 10 minutes to discuss items that would be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship, to discuss budget requests, and to include the Board of County Commissioners and County Councilor Jim Emerson, and to reconvene by 11:30 a.m. the last motion is from the conclusion of the Board of Canvassers meeting. It's to accept, motion is 20-327, to accept the final results report for the 2020 primary election held on August 4th, 2020, as presented by the county election officer, and the report of the write-in votes for the 2020 primary election as presented by the county election officer.
Thank you.
Thank you, Donna.
Thank you, commissioners.
Yes, moving on. Rebecca, you have an update? Thank you.
Okay, so we currently have 19 in isolation, 72 in quarantine, and as of Wednesday, we had 405 cases for the county. Via Christi has 3 positives, 1 PUI, Girard Medical Center has 0. Neither hospital has any ventilators being used.
Okay.
So that's kind of just an overview. Our 3 epi nurses are onboarded. The one started this week. One came in and filled out paperwork this week. One fully started this week, and then they'll all be started for sure Monday. So I think that's going well. And I've emailed all of the school nurses in the county. We have a group email set up, and Monday I'll be emailing them which epi nurse will be assigned to their school so that they'll be able to communicate back and forth when we get cases.
All right.
Any questions?
Looks like we hedged up a little bit.
Just a little bit, yeah. Pitt State is going to be doing quite a bit of testing over the weekend, and so we can just assume that we're going to have positives out of those. But that's what the testing is for, to catch any positives, before
Right.
going into communal living. So they've already caught a couple. They're pretty much having those students go home to isolate, which are not in Crawford County, so that's
Do
where.
they count in our numbers?
No, if their legal address, their permanent address is the address that goes into the system. We will be keeping track just on our own on how many of those are positive. So far we've had 5, but those will go, I think all but one has gone to their home in a different state and isolated, so.
All right. Good.
They can isolate here, but it's just a little bit easier sometimes if they can be at home.
Do you know if PSU has any accommodations set up for that? purpose?
They have PSU has an MOU with the La Quinta Hotel, so they can utilize that for students that need isolation and quarantine. Yeah, they've got that all set up and ready to go. And then they have hired Taylor Panzer. She was already at Pitt State in another capacity, but she'll be helping them get a hold of students with test results and get their on-campus contacts to get to the health department. So we've got that worked out.
Right.
So everything else is going all right then?
Yeah, just waiting to get these people trained so that we can get them all set up with the schools. And then some schools will be starting next week. We do have some schools going in. I believe ARMA is the 18th with kindergarten 6th and 9th, and then the 19th full. Some have kind of spaced it out a little, and they're not going to start right away, but others are starting next week. So.
All right.
And all the schools have gone through inspection?
Yes, we're doing, we've done all of them. I did Frontenac and Colgan yesterday, and then Dr. Stebbins and I will be doing ARMA on Monday. Dr. Bean did Girard. Dr. Stebbins and I did the high school, and then he did the others in Pittsburgh. And then Dr. Bean and Dr. Stebbins did Southeast as well. So Monday will be completed with all of them.
And there were no issues?
Doing a great
or
job.
Concerns?
Yeah, they're doing great. They're trying to follow all of the guidelines and get everything to the best that they can with the space that they have. Yeah. I was impressed with all of the ones I saw. Yeah.
Good.
It'll be a big week next week to see how,
Yeah, I mean, we
Things,
will
yeah.
get some cases, we just will, we're still getting cases now, so. And over the last couple days, since Wednesday, we've probably had about 6 positives, so our number will be up a little bit later today when they update the state website, so.
Right.
They're still kind of trickling in, we haven't had any large outbreaks like we did before, so that's good, yeah. Now, I will say there are counties around us that are experiencing some outbreaks. I know Cherokee County is experiencing some outbreaks right now, so.
Okay.
Okay,
thank
Thank you
you.
very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Mike, did you have anything to add?
I don't.
Okay. So I guess we'll move on to our guest today, Ms. Christy Kelly, Kansas Department of Transportation Community Affairs Manager, presenting annual update.
Pass the buck. Well, thank you, Commission, for letting us come to you, and we're here to listen to you, and with me is Christy Kelly, and with me for my last time at this meeting is Mr. Dockery, probably, so he is retiring. So basically, I'm just here doing my 2020 District Engineer Listening Tour. I don't get paid near the money Garth Brooks goes when he goes on tour, but I am here to listen to your concerns and the issues that you might have with us. And just to let you know that this fall, we're going to do another piece of 69 that goes to Leading. So when we get that one done, we'll have it all the way down to the 4-lane of Pittsburgh.
Good.
Yeah.
Very cool. What is the current timeline on the bit that's being done now?
On the what? The piece
On the
now?
portion that's being done now north of Arma?
Oh, what do you say, George? Probably the end of next construction season? When do you think the Arma piece will be done? The Arma connection we're doing right now with cost?
We're, right now, we're about 18% of the time is gone, and we're 16% of the work. So we're close to schedule, considering the fact that we went through that period that our offices were shut down part of the time. We never stopped working though for the contractors on that. So it's going good.
Do you think that'd be maybe be
I
done?
think that, late next fall, I think we should be having that open.
Good.
We will advertise for bid the second part that goes from Arma to the Bourbon County line. That's in
October, isn't
the
it?
October letting, I believe.
Mm.
So the two projects will be going on at the same time.
For a period of time.
Right.
Right.
And I agree with George. I'm hoping, and I think it's possible that by the end of next construction season, we ought to have the Arma connection complete, or pretty much finished and traffic on it.
Good.
And on that second portion, we have purchased, all the right-of-way have been purchased, been completed. We are now in the process of moving utilities. So it's going along, preliminary things is going along fine. On the Arma connection, we have had a little problem came up that some of the light poles or power poles for the city of Arma didn't get on their project to remove. So they are now interfering with progress. We have met with the city is getting right on it. It's going to cost because we were paying 100% of theirs, and it's going to cost us about another $118,000 with those poles. Primarily because they were on the east side, where all those houses, the back of that houses, and all the utilities were coming in from our property, KDOT right away into those houses.
Right.
The the right of way gets so tight under the new program, under the new project, they're getting everything in, even though we bought a little additional right of way, we don't have that room for any utilities right through that section. So, the city is having to move to the front of the houses. That's why the cost is going to be more.
Okay. All right.
Well,
Well, gentlemen, if you don't have anything else, we'll make like a tree and leaf this party.
The only thing,
Yeah.
the Highway 7, I know there's been a lot of talk on the shoulders on Highway 7, and it's been listed as a priority. Realistically, what do you see as a timeline for that to be addressed?
It was, and as Secretary Lorenz says, the project was selected to be put in the pipeline to start development. So I don't know, Haley, kind of what you think, another couple of years, will we see anything?
I don't think it'll be quite that long. There's been a real outcry for a need on that, and they're looking at, the last I have seen, they're talking about maybe adding a 3-foot or some type of shoulder to it
Right.
to try to keep them online. And if that's the case, it might come around faster. It just depends on if we have to get right away and different things on that nature. And I don't know. I'm
No, that's
hoping
fine.
it gets sooner.
Yeah,
We are looking at some interim measures, and I don't know yet what we'll do, but there was some suggestions that, we have a similar case down in Independence area on 99,
Yeah.
and they went in, they're in the pipeline too now. But we went in and put some delineators along the edge of the white line,
right.
just off the white line. Several of them in a row down through there to kind of, the visual thing that the truckers can see. Maybe they won't be tended.
And I've requested traffic engineering to come down and do a speed study. I've had a woman that's called me numerous times. Every time a truck goes off the road, she's called me.
Right.
And she claims that there's a lot of speeding and stuff going on, and she wants the speed limit lowered. And I said, I can't artificially lower, or I can't lower a speed limit. It's got to come from Topeka.
Right.
And so I have asked traffic engineering to study that and see what the speed limit is in that area, if it's adequate or if we do need to do something. I think they're gonna find out. Personally, I think we're gonna find out that the speed limit is adequate for that area. She wanted me to lower it to 45 to keep the trucks on the road, and I tried to explain to her the problems that result from artificially lowering the speed limit, but she didn't buy off on what I was saying, so we have that coming. So
Okay.
hopefully be done. And what George was saying on K-99, it was similar to what you have, except on K-99, there were actually a number of fatalities that were involved with them. And what they did there was about a 2-mile section where the trucks were really going off the road. We had a lot of departures last year on it. And in that area there, they went in there and we built a 3-to-1 shoulder, not a shoulder, we built a 3-to-1 force slope from the edge of the road down, because a 3-to-1 is a recoverable, it's not a recoverable slope, it's a slope that you can go down without being in trouble.
That rollover probably.
Yeah, and a 4-to-1 is a recoverable slope where you can go down and come back up. But anyway, so we put a 3-to-1 on there, and then this coming fall, we're gonna let 99, we're gonna put a 3-foot shoulder and 4-to-1 slopes on it where we can. And so I'm thinking that's something that'll probably come on 7, something very similar to that.
Well, that'd be good.
But it is being looked at, and it is being considered and addressed. And like George says, it's in the pipeline, so it'll
Right.
be one of the
Well,
first.
everything doesn't happen overnight. I know.
Yeah, you're
And I
exactly
realize
right.
that. So
Yeah.
as long as it's still on the list, we're happy with that.
But we are making progress, that's what we have to remember, so.
Very good.
Just an update on our other projects that we have here in the county going on. Our 2 bridge replacements on 126, the Cow Creek Bridge right by 69. we're 63% of the time is gone, and we're 73% complete. So
Good.
we're ahead of schedule, and it's going on good. The one at Kansas City Southern overpass are not going so good. The contract is working, but we've had some utility delays because there's been a utility company's been having a hard time getting a permit to cross Kansas City Southern
Okay.
right away. So we've been working hard trying to work out utility companies. But there's the point, because of the utilities, Evergy and Verizon, that we're about going to have to shut the project down. We can't, we're out of room to work until they get that resolved. But I did give word this week that Kansas City Southern has agreed. Yeah, they'll go ahead and give them a permit, but they're making them resubmit all their applications that they already submitted. So
Okay.
and then as an update, future things to come, on our 1R, that's our maintenance overlay, contract maintenance overlay. In January, we will be letting our overlay work. Our major emphasis this year is going to be on US 69. We'll have an 1.5-inch cold mill and an 1.5-inch overlay. We will start down at the south junction of the county line, 171, 400. And we're going to overlay 69 all the way up to K47.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Exceptions, the two pieces that are in the city of Pittsburgh, I can't overlay those. We have a city connecting links agreement, and so I can't overlay there. So that'll be on that one piece from 4th Street to 20th Street.
Right.
And then from Atkinson up to the Frontenac, Pittsburgh city limits. Now, our city connecting link agreements, we do the maintenance in Frontenac, so I get to overlay.
That's good.
Yeah.
So effectively, they're in Frontenac, by McCabe, we've got some kind of rough spots.
Yeah.
We will take care of that. The city of Frontenac has an intersection improvement project that we're funding. They're at McCabe. But we're working with their consulting engineers so that we can go ahead and do our mill and overlay, because they're going to do the widening next year for our 2020.
The widening of that intersection, probably so they can make that turn radius there.
Yeah, they're gonna make
Go
a
back west.
widen that
That'd be-
intersection so that it makes the turn lanes
Right,
there.
that'd be great.
for the trucks going
Get to those
the
businesses.
Yeah.
Industrial park.
That'd be good.
Yeah, that's definitely needed.
All right. Any other questions?
Only thing I want to say is, George, I've worked with you for 20 years, and I appreciate everything you've done. You've always been eager to help us, any problem we've ever had. You were always the guy we would call, and I just really appreciate everything you've done and the work you've done for Crawford County. And enjoy your retirement. So,
Gentlemen, thank you very much.
You bet.
If you got any questions, now you can call Christie.
did you leave your number?
I didn't offer the call list. Emergency contact, my name's not on that anymore.
Well, enjoy your retirement.
Yes, enjoy your retirement.
Thank you. All right. I guess we'll move on to new business. Dawn, you got your report?
I do.
Okay.
I just printed that off.
No, you're fine.
Grab that.
I didn't realize they were doing that.
Yeah,
That'd be good.
be nice, won't it?
Yeah. And, which I'm not
How
sure.
you doing?
I'm pretty good, how are you?
Good.
Because what Gerard did through here is a huge improvement. Have you went out this
Oh,
way?
yeah.
It's been,
I know this when I hit the tracks
oh,
today.
yeah, I mean, it's a huge improvement.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's those pages. Didn't feel like two pages.
Thanks, bud.
Yeah. Trying to finish this up for the week, seems like. Pull it up here. This is the July clerk's report, basically a summary of all the spending by the different departments, the different funds. And, you know, whether it be payroll and then accounts payable, that kind of total for there. Then we usually go through this summary of kind of the changes where we compare the previous month, which in this case is June, to July, and look at what the difference, you know, is, what might have caused that increase or decrease in spending. So let's get up to the ambulance service was down quite a bit. They had a pretty big reduction in overtime, and it was kind of spread out between a lot of expenses. There wasn't, I think the overtime was about $10,000 less in July versus June. Then there were several other areas where they were, you know, slightly lower in June versus July. Community corrections had purchased some office equipment there, which saw a little spike, not really much, but the general fund was down a little over 40,000, and I mean, we in June had made that payment on that 911 tower out at Greenbush of $41,000. Then of course we didn't have that expense in July, so it showed as it shows a decrease in spending between the 2 months. On that PHAP grant, there was a little increase, and in the health department, they plugged in, I think it was overtime from a few months to try to get that into those reimbursement reports, which is a good time to do that. And then you know, payroll taxes on that money, and then also for the health department, the health directors
Health
pay.
officer, I think that means health officer.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, it is. Health and family was down a little bit. They had purchased some medical supplies in June, about a little over $2,000 worth of supplies, and didn't have that expense in July. The same way for the Free to Know grant. Some supplies purchased in June that wasn't wasn't duplicated in July, so showed as a decrease. Case management, there wasn't really much of a change, but it looked like spread out between partially in payroll and then some other expenses that were up slightly from June. Road bridge was down, $63,000 that they paid for a lot of asphalt in June. There was a little bit of asphalt purchased in July, but just like $6,000 worth versus $60,000 worth in June, and then also looked like rock purchases were lower in July versus June. That consolidated 911, there was several pieces of equipment that they had bought for that Greenbush and tower, and then also, I think some updating equipment. They've been working on that tower out on Gooding Road as well, and some equipment that they were replacing on it as well. Employee benefits was up. Those health savings accounts, they make the deposits quarterly to those. That was the bulk of that increase in spending was making that deposit. Fire District 1 was up. So they once a quarter pay their volunteers for they get, I think it's $20 or something whenever they go out for a fire call. It's supposed to pay for their gas and a little bit of their time.
Right.
And they do that once a quarter. So when they do that, it was almost $5,000, $4,925. Some decreases there for Fire District 3 and 4. For 3, they paid for that fire pack insurance, which is a kind of a special insurance package designed for fire districts. They had paid for it in June, as well as a $2,500 radio, kind of a repair and maintenance package that they were working out with the local vendors to just kind of constantly keep servicing any radios that they have to get serviced. So those were done in June and not repeated again, obviously, in July. They're kind of an annual payment, so they showed a pretty good decrease there. Same with Fire District 4, and spent quite a bit of money on new hoses and things in June, and didn't need to do that again. I just had gotten down this. I was about finished when we started our work session this morning on the budget. But I knew the tourism was down 12,000. I believe, if I go back about times and look at the prior month for June. They had paid out those, they were up in June, and it was those museum grant funds that they pay out once a quarter to the 3 museums here that have qualified for that. And that was over half of that decrease was not paying for that again this month. Current month, so of that, most of it was because of those payments to the museums in June. The Violence Against Women, that was in June. They made their quarterly drawdown about $5,000, and that course, didn't happen again in July, so they showed a reduction as well. Sewer District 4 was up quite a bit. I hadn't gotten to that, I was looking through that, I think it's probably repairs to some, their grinder pumps out there, is where they have issues. Let me get back to them. Kind of report I look at to track those, so, Sewer District 4. Yeah, it looks like they spent this month $6,400 on repairs. That's when they have those grinder pumps go out on that sewer district. It's expensive, it's kind of hit and miss on that. But that's, when you see a spike in their spending, that's generally what it is. Is they've had 2 or 3 of those go out, and they're expensive to replace or get repaired. And, that's really most of it there. I mean, the mental health payroll was up. I think they're still getting, in July, getting people back on some of those programs that you guys run, your after school, or not after school, but the kind of the child care and things like that. That'll probably, I don't know how that'll look in August, but that'll probably be up again. Most of you think it'll go down. I didn't know if you guys were gonna be doing the Challenger programs and things like that.
Yeah, we'll have a couple of, maybe 10 days worth in August before school picks up, but the Challenger is basically June and July.
Okay.
Anyway, that's
Questions?
just,
I have none.
No. If there's no questions, I'll make a motion to approve the June 2020 to July 2020 clerk's report by roll call vote. Aye.
I'll second that.
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson. Thank you. You know the drill.
Yep. On it.
You want two?
Yeah, that'd be good. In fact, I'll probably have you sign, I noticed, I was looking at that report while Dwayne was talking from KDOT, and I need to update a couple of dates on that. I hadn't got those updated yet, so I will reprint that and have you guys
Okay.
sign it.
Anything else?
That's all I had.
All right. Jim?
So I wanted to give an update on our Spark funding. I've been in contact with Greenbush a couple of times this week. They're working really hard to get everything that we've done and all the applications moved into the state portal. So it's a little bit, it's a lot of work. And it looks like they're gonna be working on that today. As kind of the contact person, I'll be the one that gets it in, sends it in, and that may be tomorrow.
Okay.
So we're working on that. It could be done this afternoon, but I bet it'll be sometime tomorrow.
So Greenbush is putting all the
They're
information.
taking all of that data that they've collected, putting it into the state reporting system. They've got most of that finished. They had some questions for me that we talked about yesterday. The goal is, if it doesn't happen tonight, tomorrow, we get that punched into the system. The deadline is supposedly we can work up to the 17th, but we'd like to get that in.
Right.
So we'd like to get that in on the 15th, and that is the goal. So hopefully I think we'll be there. We've had a lot of questions about economic development grants, and I know we had our first round of grants through Spark money, but I want people to know there will also be a second round upcoming. We'll targeting a lot of the smaller businesses, but I've talked a little bit yesterday to Mike, and he said he'd be here Tuesday for more about that, but maybe we get people that were missed
Yeah, I've
in the
had
first
several
round.
calls,
Yeah.
That too, so,
people that missed out on the first round who would
Right.
like to apply.
So he said he'd be here Tuesday to talk about that, and then we'd open that back up on the county website. I just, for
Okay.
people that are watching and for the commissioners to know, we will open that back up. And then in addition, we also have the CDBG CV program. It's available on the website for businesses that are looking to get on to that, and sole proprietors are also now eligible. Received word from Susan, so be sure they get on there, get on the website. All the information is there. It's a little bit more complicated.
it is. Who's the go-to help person on that?
Susan said she'd be happy to help anybody that has
Okay.
questions.
Because I tried to help someone last night with one, and I didn't know the answer.
There's a lot to it.
Jim, I may have missed this, but did you say when the deadline was for this CBDG?
It's the end of the month, isn't it?
We made it the end of the month. Now, we can amend that if, depending on the applications we receive. I know people are confused. There's 2 or 3 programs
Right.
now. And I've had calls from Pittsburgh, and I'm directing them to City Hall and Frontenac as well. They're running their own programs. We've got ours going. We've got the CDBG, CV. It is more complicated, and we've sent some questions to Susan, and she said she'd be happy to visit
Okay.
with anybody.
We
that
gotta
thinks it.
update maybe this page on the website with kind of the information and
Yes.
maybe put her contact as well as, and I saw that, June 15th, 2021. Because they've been, whichever occurs first, we've obviously, that was for grants.
Yeah.
That's been changed as well. We figure out, maybe Jim and I can figure out how we need to update that, get that, Brandon would update that on the website. Let
Okay.
you know.
So Mike's gonna be here next week and kind of tell us what the second round of the small business looks like and when the application will be
Mike's
open.
gonna talk about that, and he's gonna talk some more about the state. It's a little bit confusing, but the state kind of round 2
Okay.
funding.
They
is
had a
more-
webinar on Wednesday or yesterday, explaining it.
Right, I think another one today
Yeah.
is out there, so, yeah, so he'll be here for some work on that. I just want businesses or people to know that, yeah, we're running 2 or 3 things, and we'll help you as much as we can to get you in the right place, so. The only other thing I need is a couple of executive sessions. First one is 20 minutes under attorney-client privilege. Commissioners, myself, and Pete Peterson will be on the phone with us. Then the second one is just a quick 10-minute executive session under non-elected personnel about the noxious weed department.
Okay.
And that's all I have for new
Okay.
business.
All right. Thank you. Tom?
No, I did have a question on the CBDG CV grant, but Jim explained
Yeah, I did too.
what I was getting ready to ask, so, no, sir.
Jeremy?
Mine also relates to the CDBG, the committee. So we'd had the applications of 4
Yes.
people, I think. Do we need to take action to move that forward and get those people together before the 31st?
Yes, I think that would be, yes, we do need to do that. So we have a list or whoever that is.
John, do you have those applications?
Let's see.
Jim, you have the one. Did you give it to
I have a couple that I received by email, I think I.
That's all right. If you want to look for them while we're in one of the executive sessions, see if you can locate
Yeah.
them, we can.
Get them
address
all
them
rounded
now.
up and then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. see what. New business, I was supposed to meet with Josh this morning, and I didn't. But he has a Purple Wave list of what equipment that
move.
we have replaced and needs to be getting rid of, or possibly some trucks. So I'll get that list for Tuesday. Then we can go ahead and okay that for him to give him to go ahead and sell it. But I want to make
Okay.
sure everybody's on the same page on that.
Yeah, if it's, we're no longer using it, there's no reason to keep it, so.
And then the other thing, it's not really new business, but just kind of like the letter we had across the hall, good news letter. I had somebody talk to the other day, very appreciative of getting a letter on the chip and seal and letting them know when it's going to happen so they could prepare, which looks like next week.
Yeah, sounds like Tuesday they're gonna start.
So people do appreciate getting a letter and update of what's going on the road they live on. That's all I had for new business. Old business, Dawn?
I don't have anything.
Jim?
Certainly. I mean, unless you guys, you want to do a work session after your executive sessions?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, well, I'll address that
Yeah.
as far as the budget stuff. Yep.
Yep.
Are we looking to finalize that, Don?
I mean, that's up to you guys.
I thi-
There is no really a hard deadline on that.
I would like to get it finalized today so we can publish it.
Yes,
I think we're close enough.
The law says that, those budgets should be like forwarded or should be sent to the county clerk by August 25th. That's really the only deadline, and it's so that we can prepare for set mill levies, which is until October.
Right.
So, I mean, we occasionally have those submitted late, and as long as it's not where they're getting into the last part of September, it's not really a problem.
Well, I'd just soon finalize it today because I think we're close enough to finalize it so you can publish it. And
To-do list.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
so I'll mention that after we get done.
I was asking, does it normally be on the motion at the end to publish
Oh,
So you're
Right, which we
saying,
would need to be in meeting
for
for.
publication? So we could adjourn and go into a work session, but we couldn't close the meeting.
okay, that's fine.
Come back in to approve.
Perfect.
that's true, yeah.
No, you're right. Yeah, you're
Yes.
right.
We're gonna do that.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Question, I just want to make sure I'm prepared for Monday for the communications director. Do you want her to come over here in the morning to get the computer and everything, or
name going on my screen over here from somebody, so the sound is off.
That's all I had for old business.
Okay. The only two things I have. Sheriff, do you want to, I've just been talking with sheriffs about the roof.
Oh, okay.
He doesn't have them all today, but you've,
got another one handed to me
no, you got them all now.
too. Well, yeah, the other one's in the office. I
Okay.
anticipate doing that. It's time to redo our roof at the sheriff's office, so, we've got some bids, some proposals on that, so, Bruce just handed me one, and then, I just got another one, and I have one at the office. So it's something we'll be talking about in terms of,
Sometime, I
Look at
don't know,
the-
maybe Tuesday, we have Hippie come over.
Yeah, why don't we do that
and I just talked to
Tuesday?
him about
And-
that, about maybe Tuesday being a
and just
possible date. I was gonna
look
get
at
with you
what the
guys.
options are, but it's kind of a times, it's not terrible, as I was up there, but it's time sensitive. It probably needs to be done before fall. And
Yeah,
we
there's a
just
couple
need to-
people been up there.
And I
so
don't know how busy those people are, but just to.
Probably water
get it
getting
on
in the
list.
building somewhere, and we probably need to get that
Right.
taken care of.
Yeah, we
if
need to get
possible.
on that then.
Okay,
We're
so
taking on
It's
water.
been, oh man, I wanna say 2010 maybe. I'm trying to think of the last time.
It's been a long time.
I know Sheriff Horton was still here when it was done, so it's been a while, so.
So we can
just-
discuss, I haven't looked at the other bids yet to see what product or what application they're looking at, but kind of get an idea of which one's the best fit.
Something we can do on Tuesday. We'll just, I'll
Yeah.
bring the other proposal over, and like I said, look at the different products and kind of make a decision there on those. And
Because it's been about a month or longer. since
Yeah,
we
just
first
trying to get some of
addressed
these
it.
back, yeah.
So,
So,
just to let you know that conversation's happening.
Perfect.
All right,
All right, we'll get with you guys Tuesday about that.
okay, I appreciate it, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, yeah.
The only thing I have after, I guess, Jim's, I would like to request executive session for 10 minutes under non-elected personnel for the evaluation process. So I guess if there's nothing else right now, go into executive session for 20 minutes under attorney-client privilege, 3 commissioners, council, and Mr. Pete Peterson by phone, correct?
Second. We're going to your office.
Oh, yeah, so we get a copy of that?
It doesn't matter, I can look at it Tuesday. I just want to let everybody know. what's going on.
No, I just thought that. Yeah, I can work with this.
doing?
I'm pretty good. How about you?
I'm doing all right, thank you.
You guys have, or the commission has approved applications that were sent in for the Spark funding.
Uh-huh.
Do you guys have like a list of the different entities or organizations, whatever that end up sending these in?
I'm trying to think, we got, there were some, it was in the last meeting, let me, it has he had a list, I know, of all the people who applied in the business and nonprofit category. Let me make a couple of changes to this document. I'm gonna go print it. I need to get it out and then,
Yeah, no, but you were already working on something.
yeah, okay, this is. July 31.
Dawn, are they still on the air?
Yes, we are, but,
We should go this room.
yeah, you're
Can we
welcome.
use this room real
Sure.
quick?
No, you may not.
No, you are not allowed. It is sacred ground.
How you doing, Alyssa? I'm doing all right. he may have more information on that than I do. I've just seen what they kind of presented in the meetings here. They're, like, I don't know if you heard him say they were, Greenbush, who was our, kind of, like this facilitator, you know, we've hired them to kind of run this program for us. They are, in the process of putting that all into the state's portal, so there'll probably be kind of more details. I don't know, I know we talked about, you know, putting that out on the website and things like that after everything's kind of finalized with the state. Some of that stuff, I think there is, you know, there's a chance that some of that would not maybe pass muster with the state, but it's probably a remote possibility, but, you know, they talked about that a few times, that if there was some reason that one of those applications, the state didn't think it necessarily fit all of the eligibility guidelines, that, you know, that some of that could get shifted around, you know, because there are some, especially you can see from the other sheet that there was a lot more received as far as the total applications, and then what we had available, you know, end up with, Westover, 8.15 million, and we only had about, 7.8, so, you know, so there are some things out there that weren't approved, you know, or were reduced or whatever, so you end up with some money that didn't get approved at the state level for something you could shift it, maybe one of those programs that didn't get necessarily all they felt they needed. Anyway, but like I said, you may want to talk to Jen Emerson, our county counselor, about that. He's the point man on that. I get to access to some of that information, but I'm not involved in all of the details that he is. Okay. Oh, you guys heading out? Oh,
I think so.
be nice to get the PIO
Yeah, I think that'll be great.
going. It'd be
So will they approve the budget today, the county budget?
Well, no, they're talking about just approving it for publication.
So you'll publish?
And then we have a hearing,
Okay,
probably not till the 28th
gotcha.
of August,
So
yeah.
where do you publish it, on the website?
Well, we gotta publish it in the paper.
Oh, in the paper, okay.
Yeah, but it'd be on the website too.
Okay, I just didn't know where we would be able to find it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and it'll just be it's the summary kind
Right.
of page.
Yeah.
It shows the estimated mill levies for each fund and stuff like
Departments.
that, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
See you later.
Guys, have a good weekend.
You too.
And we'll try. Levy sheets, that. Everybody eat a few cherry tomatoes, good for you. What you got? Okay. Jordan and Gino, you have to park it out there and have cherry tomatoes from. Yeah. Yeah, put it in the blender, put it up.
The
The
other one's
little
going.
one, she just wants to go wherever, she runs through the house and, she finally, we shut the doors on the living room, so she gotta kind of stay in that one room, but
But I know that Donna will love that. She can
Oh,
handle
yeah,
it.
she can handle it.
she loves to go and
Oh,
push
yeah.
buttons on stuff. She'll be turning everything on or off.
Hello. Hello, hello.
Uh,
Leave your hair
like to, 10 minutes, executive session, non-elected personnel, 3 commissioners, council, noxious one.
Good to see you, Kay. Take care, John. Good to see you.
Okay, one more.
Hold on a second, Rod.
Hmm? One more executive session, 10 minutes under non-elected personnel, 3 commissioners, council topic evaluations.
Okay. Second.
Aye.
Right. Thank you. Yeah, sound's still on. Make sure that's recording. Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Trying to talk to my, our fire district chiefs here while they're in executive session.
Nice.
And,
Yeah.
yep, don't know where you're at sometimes. Okay, let's see. That's fire district. Yeah, that's right.
How much left do you think I have trying to grab?
I think they're on their last executive session here,
Uh-huh,
so then, yeah, they should be out at that point.
right. I think we were talking about doing a work session after all of this.
Huh. Oh. Rod? Rod? Hello, Rod? Rod, is he there? Hello? Oh, yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, you've only used about under 40% of your budget. You still had the 63,000, you got almost 39,000 left. So, you guys, and that's through the end of July, so you guys are in, yeah, very good shape, so. Okay. you've categorized as a COVID-19, so, yeah. Well, it might not be a bad idea. If I come up or finish that up, is that should I is that short? Okay, all right. Okay, thanks a lot. No problem. Bye-bye.
Okay, so, how you want to do this? We'll recess this meeting, finish up the budget,
Right, yeah.
and then we'll come back. So, recess it for a certain period of time, or how long? How long do you think we need, Dawn?
I don't know, I mean, I'm not sure what you guys have left, you think you need to cover?
I think we're close.
Why
Half
don't
an
we,
hour, or?
why don't we recess for 30? If it's not enough, we can recess again.
Okay. So recess regular, I'll make a motion to recess the regular meeting for 30 minutes to discuss the budget, 2021 budget.
Okay. Is that motion?
Yep.
Second?
Aye.
All right. You need a break before
I'm gonna run the bathroom.
we jump back into that?
Zach, did you need one of us for an interview?
That would be great.
Okay.
You don't want to wait 30 minutes plus?
Yes, it is. Yes, sir.
Just want to do it right here,
Yeah.
or? Okay.
I'm gonna have to do something a little different. So,
I'm gonna say, I will want your mics.
for today, I have an issue with my camera, so I'm going to.
Oh, please.
Audio with the camera and video with my phone this time. Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay. Okay. You know, whatever you gotta do to make it work.
Right.
Make your job. Right there?
Above that.
Above, okay.
So whenever I clap, let me first. Okay. I'm just glad that something else is so terrible.
It really makes it a lot easier. Like, it's not quite to the point, but almost where this kind of stuff is excessive. Like, if you've got a phone, you're probably gonna be okay.
Yeah, so I'm gonna stand right here and just kind of
Look at you between the,
Right.
gotcha.
So if you go ahead and say, spell your first last name.
Jeremy, Jeremy, Johnson, John.
Okay. And so as far as the Smart CARES Act grant funds, and where that process is at now?
Right, so last Friday, or, excuse me, so on Monday, we had a work session with Greenbush, who we hired as a consultant to help us administer the $7.8 million from the CARES Act funding. So we had a work session with them on Monday, after the applications for the business and governmental and nonprofit entities to apply had closed on Thursday. They took the weekend to look over all of them, sort them, and kind of review some of them. So then on Monday, we reviewed and went through all of them and basically set the levels for the allocations and finalized those, which we then approved on Tuesday, that were slightly modified from the tentative budget that we had laid out. Some of the areas were a little bit higher, some had dropped a little bit. Largely, they were based on the applications that we had gotten in each. Like we were, people had under-applied for the business grants. We had set out roughly $1.5 million for that, and we got just north of $500,000 in applications. And so, accordingly, we kind of adjusted the levels on each of the budget areas, but then to get us to the 7.8, which is the amount that we got through the CARES Act. So then, that will be, we approved the final allocation amount based on the applications. So then Greenbush will be submitting those today or tomorrow, since the deadline to get those to the state will be 17th, Monday.
Right. And so, yeah, with the fact that you guys got some of those different areas like the business and nonprofit, there were, the applications were less than what you had allocated. Do you think that had anything to do with the process happening to go so quickly?
I mean, certainly, yes, the timeline was very fast. I mean, we knew from the beginning that we were going to have to move very quickly on this, right? Because the federal guidelines have laid out a deadline at the end of the year, and the state had wanted to do a clawback, basically, right, in order to, I mean, they want to be able to spend the funds as well. The counties are not going to be able to do it because obviously the state also has priorities that they would like to address with money that's not getting spent. So yeah, I think a lot of it was the timeline that that application was open for a week and a half, which is far from ideal, but at the same time, like we wanted to be on top of the money and we want to make sure that it gets spent here because we know we have local priorities that we can absolutely be funneling that money to. So given the time constraints, I feel pretty good about how the process played out. Crawford County was really positioned well going into it. I've heard from a lot of other counties that did not really have much planning in place, and so when the money hit, they were like putting an application on a Facebook page and were like, come and apply. with no stipulations, whereas because we had the recovery task force that had kind of given us some guidance and had given us a preliminary budget to plan off of, to kind of judge from the get-go, we were really ready to go, and then with Greenbush's help, obviously, they've been a tremendous asset to us in all of this. With those things in place, like, even given the really tight timeline, it turned out pretty well. Like, it, obviously, having more time to plan and have people apply and all of that would absolutely have been helpful, but given the constraints we were under, I think, certainly myself, but I think the other commissioners as well, feel pretty good about how the process played out. That in hindsight, there are things that we could have tweaked or modified to improve, but again, given how quickly things were moving, like, it turned out much better than it could have, in other circumstances.
As far as, if there are those businesses who weren't quite able to get their, an application put in on time, or things like that, I know you guys have talked about a couple of other grants.
Right, so as part of that, we kind of identified an area that had gone, that was maybe skipped over a little bit in the first application, and that was smaller, like home-based businesses. Because one of the requirements we had the first time was that you had to have a commercial address, and you had to have at least 3 employees. Well, that knocks out a lot of home-based or smaller businesses, right? So we kind of identified and set aside an additional $100,000 like for those, but also included in that is going to be people that maybe didn't catch it the first time. But so in addition to that, there's also both the city of Pittsburgh, Frontenac, Girard, and the county outside of those areas has a separate grant for businesses that is currently open. Ours is open through the end of August. And then the round 2 of the CARES Act funding being administered by the state, there will be a business grant and nonprofit and food processing. There's a lot of stuff that's kind of thrown into that, but that will open next Wednesday. And so that'll be additional money that is not attached to the ones going on. So ultimately, there are going to be like 3 different grant funds available basically for local businesses to tap into if they've not already accessed one of them.
So it definitely sounds like there is a lot of different stuff that people really should be paying attention to.
Yes, it is a lot of information coming very quickly, which has been a challenge for us. I think it has shown the county kind of some of our weaker points, things that we could do better. And so like one of the things that we had identified and kind of responded to is we hired a public information person who's going to be starting on Monday, and one of her big tasks is going to be like getting this information out. But right now, we don't really have a good mechanism for that. Like the county doesn't have a county-wide Facebook page. Like there are individual departments that have them, but we don't. And so having someone that is working on getting that information out rather than relying on the people who are also doing the work of like, because like up until now, right, if the health department wanted to put out an announcement, it was the department director that was doing it, right? Who's also working on all of the grant programs we have and contact tracing and testing and all of these other things, right? You don't want a person who's doing really vital work to also have to then go out and tell people about the vital work they're doing. You want a separate position for that. And so that was one of the areas that we had kind of identified as like, hey, we can improve here and get this information out in front of people because it is really important. It's going to have a huge impact on citizens and businesses in the community.
Anything else you want to add to it?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, glad to help, yeah. Yeah, we might be here for a little bit longer yet still, so.
Right.
Opportunity to step aside and take care of that real quick.
And then fall into damage control. Get going here. That's what I was asking about, how, who, the applications and stuff for that park money. That'd be probably a good thing after we, get final approval, make sure nothing's gonna get shot down at the state level or something like that. So we kind of put out there on our website, Facebook. That's probably.
Just updating
Yeah.
on the process,
Yeah,
yes.
well, and I like that list that Mike had of, this is Crawford County, it shows you it's a wide net,
Yes.
out there. And, try to make it as inclusive as possible. Like, it'd be interesting to see how it ends up looking in like in some of those other counties that just kind of.
Oh, yeah, no, I have no doubt that it will not have turned out quite as well.
Yeah.
There are things we could have changed, but it could have been way worse.
Yeah.
Could have been much, much worse.
Yeah. Yeah, we've had, 2 or 3 businesses been asking us about this CDBG, CB, down as to my insurance, is that allowable expense? I'm not
I saw
sure.
that email before, like,
Yeah.
oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, some of that you would think probably hasn't changed as a result of COVID.
Right, well, and like the one, I saw the one asked about taxes, like,
Yeah.
no, that's not gonna,
How you doing?
Yeah.
that's not working.
Good. Did you get everything there?
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
This payroll, I mean, I would think, because it sounds like they've already been into the PPP
Right.
program and
Yes.
some of those, and that would cover payroll taxes, I would think.
Oh,
I think
right.
other taxes like, property or, income, but now, if you're still paying income taxes,
Uh-huh.
you're doing okay.
Hey, Don,
Are we live?
We're still alive, yeah.
okay.
Do we want to turn off for the work session and then come back on, or?
I don't know, it's up to you guys.
Probably should if we're looking at the budget numbers, just in case.